Welcome one and all to another edition of Games You Can't Possibly Have Tried Yet. Because of course, these games come to us hot off the compiler from our own community of game jammers. And we've got a ton of awesome to cover today, so let's dive right in. As always, the participants were given the weekend to take their crazy interpretations of the theme and make them a reality. This time around though, the theme for the game jam was Connect. And we received way too many excellent entries to cover them all in a single episode. However, the games we've selected here caught our eye as being exceptionally funny, weird, or just great examples of our theme. But everyone watching should check out the full list of submissions in the description below for a truly eclectic selection of games made by your very own peers. Oh, and P.S. keep your eyes out for games that also incorporate the cool shove effect as an additional challenge. And if all this jam talk makes you want to participate next time, yes, you. Hi there, you totally should. Then be sure to save the date for our next Extra Credits Community Game Jam on August 22nd. But without further ado, let us connect you to a small sampling from our last Game Jam. You knew a Connect joke was coming. Just be glad it wasn't the Microsoft one. Understanding Tiles. Understanding Tiles is a game about belonging and the need, or aversion to, social groups. You play as a square who wants to figuratively and literally connect with other squares. But as you play through what seems to be a simple puzzle game, you start to notice little subtleties. Some of the other squares don't want to be part of a group. Some of the squares are unreachable. And once you notice the names of each level, the facial expressions of the squares, and the different puzzles contained in repeating spaces to represent different social situations, you'll begin to see context where none was previously. Step 2. Who needs fancy computer programming skills? Or game engines for that matter? Or even game content? I mean, all you really need is a D20, some paper, and a pen. The gameplay of Step 2 is incredibly simple. Roll the die to determine the first and third panel of a comic, then draw in panel number 2 to connect the story together. Play by yourself to create art for art's sake, or get some friends involved to share some laughs as you compare interpretations. Sure, it's pretty sparse, just a single-paged PDF, but that does give you space to make your own fun. For instance, can you order panels 1 and 3 however you want? Or is there a time limit? All of that is up for you to decide. In fact, Step 2 is almost like a game jam inside of a game jam submission. Pull this one out next time you have friends over and see if you can add some simple rules to fuse it into a full-on party game. Sketch Module. We all knew a Connect the Dots game was coming, right? No need to be self-conscious of your drawing skills, because this game is all about connecting dots. I really don't want to give away too much about what makes this game almost laugh-out-loud funny, but if I were to say you get to draw Jeff Goldblum, would that pique your interest? Because lines, find a way. Point line. Maybe you're looking for a more pulse-pounding Connect the Dots experience than Sketch Module. Don't worry, Point Line has you covered. Draw a line between 2 points, and time it correctly so you don't collide with oncoming lines. The sound effects and great EDM music really get your blood pumping and give the whole package an energizing aesthetic. Though it can get a little unforgiving down the road when you have to restart the entire level if your timing is off by 1 nanosecond, but restarts are so seamless, it barely matters. Not to mention, the controls are as simple as they come as well. All you need is the spacebar and one itchy index finger. Cable Chaos. Remember the satisfaction you felt wrangling different types of cords for your computer or TV setup? I know I'm not alone out there in this. Don't you kinda wish there was an infinite amount of cords to untangle? Well, you're in luck, because Cable Chaos delivers all of the fun of figuring out which cords go to which ports. It's a little scrappy looking right now, but it would be incredible if the creator of this game turned it into a mobile game, where you'd have to do things like shake your phone to dump the cords out, and then use the touchscreen to sort what cords go where. And actually, I could also see this expanded into a partially educational game, used to improve tech literacy around hardware. Because we all know some coworker or family member that could actually use something like this. PhoneThat. It's a platformer with a mobile phone and a sense of humor. Is there a hungry monster blocking your path? Better order them a pizza. What about bombs scattered all over the place? You should call the bomb disposal squad. Or maybe you're just feeling lonely. Maybe you should call your mom. She's been missing you. PhoneThat is almost less of a platformer and more like a puzzle game, where the challenge is to think of what phone number will help you reach your goal. And what helps in making this experience unique is the phone directory. It isn't in the game itself, but a separate text file you have to keep open to consult while you play. Now, some might think that's a pain, but it kinda got me nostalgic for my old Game Genie codebook. The Reconnection Clinic. The setup for this game is that you play as a marriage counselor who helps struggling couples rekindle their love by deleting parts of their past. And while the game starts off looking like a visual novel or adventure game, it then turns into a shoot 'em up. But this shift is perfectly in line with the premise, so it doesn't feel jarring at all. Your goal is to delete enough bad memories so that the couple is left with only the good times without destroying so much that they're left as complete strangers. This gives a lot of weight to which memories you choose to retain or erase, and got me thinking about the moral implications of it all. The game is also fairly short, so it's worth your time to experiment and see some of the game's multiple endings. And it's a great example of a compelling narrative coming through the mechanics of a game. No AAA visuals required. Abstract logistics. This entry is like a simulation of an assembly line, but one with a really nice geometric aesthetic. Certain boxes need certain shapes flowing in to create other shapes. So the challenge is to connect them to grow the assembly line as long as possible. It becomes almost trance-like, watching shapes flow into other shapes like a complex circuit. And finally, the summit. In the summit, you play as a little orange person who wants to reach the top of a mountain. So you click and move a couple pixels, click again and move a couple more, and keep clicking. Hey, nobody ever said summiting a mountain was quick or easy, right? However, something about seeing your receding character make steady progress, coupled with the sparse sound effects, really draws you in and makes you want to see what happens at the top. Then the game comes together when you reach the top and get to make a potentially meaningful connection. Was the destination worth the journey? That is for you to decide. And with that, dear Game Jam journeyers, we've reached the end of this showcase. We had a few laughs, some moments of introspection, and we got to draw Jeff Goldblum. I cannot stress that enough. Most importantly though, we did it all together. And that is what these game jams are really about. They're about connection after all. And that's what makes them so powerful. So we hope this little slice of creativity showed off what kind of crazy games are possible for anyone, no matter how skilled, to make in a single weekend. And we hope that it inspires more entries into our next game jam on August 22nd. I'm still looking at you. You can do it. So until next time, for those about to jam, we salute you! Yes, we do! Oh, I gotta stop doing that. Hey, reverb button, how are you?